Okay, hi. Welcome back to the second day of our review. I can see Chloe has successfully connected. We know Rimrock internet is not so stable. Okay, thanks all. Thank you to all of you who come in. Let's continue with our discussion. ACI 2 review. Right? ACI 2 review. So yesterday we discussed about the refuge. And then class 1, 2, we discuss about refuge. Then we talk about bodhicitta, 3, 4. And then 5, 6, we discuss about nirvana. Now, today is class 7, 8, 9, 10, which is also kind of exciting. And let me show you the PowerPoint, and then we can start with prayer. Yesterday, I forgot to do the closing prayer. Oh, okay, so page 90. Share screen. Okay. Oh, okay. Chloe's internet dropped again. Okay. Oops, somebody else also dropped. Okay, let's start with the prayer. Crystal, you want to help lead the prayer?
Sashi Pugi Jushi Meto Tram Rira Dingshi Inde Gemba Di Shange Shindu Mite Uwagi Drokun Namda Singla Shupasho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Niatayami Sangye Chudang Choki Choknam La Jangchu Badu Dakni Kiasuki Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunam Gi Drora Penche Sangye Trupasho Sangye Chudang Choki Choknam La Jangchu Badu Dakni Kiasuchi Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunam Gi Dora Penche Sangye Trupasho Sangye Chudang Choki Choknam La Jangchu Badu Dakni Kiasuchi Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunam Gi Dora Penche Sangye Trupasho.
Okay, thank you. So now today we are in class 7, 8, 9, and 10. Class 7, we talk about impossible things, or we call it things that we deny. And then class 8 and 9, we will talk about proof of emptiness. So in order to understand the proof of emptiness, we need to understand what are the things that we deny. What are the impossible things? Because we define emptiness is the absence of the impossible things. Okay, so you can see the double negative here. It is a difficult concept to wrap around, but trust me, you just need to hang on and try to plant the seeds to understand it. And then, of course, class 10, we will then talk about Lord Maitreya for the fact that the source is our source, ancient source is from the great teaching explanation by Lord Maitreya of Lord Buddha's teaching, right? First of all, I would like to, before we continue, I would like to thank our translators. From Vietnam, we have Chung Win. And then Indonesia, we have Rini. Okay, thanks a lot for helping to make sure that all these precious teachings are available to people in different languages. Okay. Today, although the topics is quite difficult, but I think we should be able to understand the ideas quite easily. Okay. So we continue. We revise again. Yesterday, we talked about the results of practicing karma. Okay. I would say that results of practicing, result of getting rid of mental affliction. Okay. So not only just a good karma, but I think results of getting rid of mental afflictions. A result of getting rid of mental affliction. These are the four ways. These are the four stages we will go through, right? So we start from the bottom, the stream enterer, the first one, which is the third. If we remember our discussion of the five paths, it is the path where we get the direct perception of emptiness. So we go into it's called path of seeing, and we become an Arya, right? So stream enterer, also in our term, Geshe Michael like to use the term conveyor belt. So when you get into the conveyor belt, you will just flow, right? And you will, at that moment, you will know that you will become enlightened in the next maximum 7 lifetimes or 500 years. So it's really an amazing experience. Okay. And you will be able to hear more description on this one in, I think, especially in ACI 5 and also in DCI 7. DCI 7, by the way, is coming in June. In June, it is happening online. It is also happening in Taiwan. Yeah. So those of you who want to really attend and learn all the details about how we can train to have the direct perception of emptiness, you can come and attend the class. It's called Touching the Diamond World, right? That is the term that we use, Diamond World. We want to touch the Diamond World. And along the way, you will go into a once returner, meaning that you only come back one more time to the Disaram. And non-returner is the next one. That means you never have to come back to Disaram. Yeah. And then finally, you will reach the fourth stage called Four Destroyers or Arhat. Nirvana, right? Arhat basically means a worthy person. And this happens on the fifth path, which is path of no more learning. Here we are talking about the listener track and the self-made Buddha track. All right. Of course, we are not talking about the Bodhisattva track. Okay, so these are the result of practicing to get rid of mental affliction. Okay. Bodhicitta again means we have this DPE, right? We have the bodhicitta is defined as the wish to reach enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So here the metaphor is DUI. DUI. Like I mentioned, I just learned this term. In US, there is this term called DUI. And it can be anything. It can be anything, right? DUI driving under the influence of what? Mental afflictions here. But here we want to talk about under the influence of bodhicitta. So in the DPE, and when we have the bodhicitta, that is when we become an Arya Bodhisattva, right? So this is bodhicitta. Now let's talk about gaccha. Gaccha means impossible things. And it is important to understand gaccha so that we can understand what emptiness is really all about. Emptiness is not just empty. Emptiness is empty of the impossible things, empty of gaccha. Or here, empty of the thing that was never there that you thought was there. Okay, so I think this is, we should go back to the kitchen, right? The two husbands in the kitchen story that Geshe Michael used, and a lot of us are very, very familiar. So the story is, let me quickly recap, right? It's talking about the wife who has been working hard in office and then has to take care of the family, cook dinner for the family. So one day before she left office, the boss told her that, hey, the next day there is supposed to be an early meeting. So she had to go to the office very early. And then that evening, she told the children, hey, mommy had to go back to office early the next day. So please make sure you get ready in the morning with all your homeworks, with all your uniform, etc. The children agreed. But the next day, the children were not ready. And this this lady was kind of angry, scolded the children because they were not ready and she would be late to the office. And this actually planted the seeds, right? When she scolded the children, she planted the seeds of hearing herself, her scoldings. And 1 week later, while she was on the way back from office, feeling very tired, she still went to buy some groceries to cook dinner for the husband. And when she arrived home, she got the scolding from the husband. Right? So at that moment in the kitchen, we say that there are two husbands. The first husband is an angry husband who scolded her because he was angry, because he was being unreasonable, because he was maybe he also had a traffic jam, or he just got scolding from his boss. So this is the first husband, which we call the emptiness husband. This is an impossible husband. It means that the husband who is not coming from herself is impossible, right? It just means that the husband who is not coming from herself is impossible, and basically this impossible husband is not even there. So this is emptiness. Of course, the second husband is the husband, the seed husband, who is coming from her, who scolded the children the week before. Yeah, so I think if you bring this to the kitchen, it becomes very easy. So basically, this is talking about identifying the gaccha. Okay, and then we have the gaccha and emptiness. Another example that Geshe Michael liked to use is the gaccha is like a two-headed elephant with two heads, pink color, and 20 feet tall. 20 feet tall. So this is an example of gaccha. It is impossible. It is impossible, right? Elephant with two heads and so huge and big, and the color. So So emptiness is like the absence of the two-headed pink color elephant, two-headed 20 feet pink color elephant. Okay, so this is what this is another metaphor that Geshe Michael used. Yeah. So okay, today, this morning when I woke up, sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Today, this morning I woke up, I look at the weather forecast. It says heavy snow. And then now, when I look out, I'm sitting here. When I look out at the window, I could see the snow is really, really thick. So I'm a bit distracted. Coming from Singapore, snow is like a new thing, right? Yeah. I don't know. I think if Chloe is here, where's Chloe? Chloe is in the Rim Rock. I don't know. Rim Rock, maybe, I don't know how is the snow condition, but here, wow, I see outside the porch here, the snow it's about 5 cm already. I can't believe it. Okay, it's going to be cold. Okay, anyway, let's continue. Now let's talk about how things exist before we talk about emptiness, right? So the Svatantrika, which is the lower middle way, or we call it the independent branch of the middle way, right? The lower middle way, independent branch. For things to exist, there must be two conditions. It must appear to you, to us, yeah? It must appear to us. It must be suggesting from its side what it is. It must come to us. And secondly, we must have an unimpaired mind to perceive it. Unimpaired means clear mind. We must have clear mind to see it. So you can see that according to Svatantrika, things exist when it appear to us and we can see it. So there are two components, right? This is according to the Svatantrika. I think we define the Svatantrika definition of emptiness is 50-50, if you heard that before, 50-50, right? So in the Svatantrika, definition of emptiness is things are impossible if it doesn't appear to us and we don't see it with unimpaired mind. All right, so we can just reverse it that way. Okay, now unimpaired means not influenced by any visual hallucinations, disease, alcohol, or anything, right? It must be clear mind. So you can see there are two components of this view. So another thing that we can say here is also using 4 steps. You want to prove that something exists, it can only be produced by 4 steps. You want to prove that something cannot exist, you can only say that you cannot use 4 steps to create it, So this is basically the idea. All right, so this is I call it shortcut, right, to help us remember. So this is basically bringing us back to the seed. If something cannot be created by the seeds, then most probably it is impossible. And the absence of that impossible thing is basically emptiness. Or sometimes we can call emptiness as potential, right? If something if we can create, if something is coming from seeds, definitely it exists. Definitely it's real. Yeah. So now you realize we actually go into the higher middle way. We go into the prasangika, or we call it the implication branch of the middle way, right? So in the lower middle way, we say 50-50. Things exist when they appear to us and we can see it with unimpaired mind. But the higher middle way, things exist because of seeds. So the emptiness, according to the higher middle way, is things doesn't exist if they don't come from seeds. Yeah, interesting. So different, we call it different belief system, different schools have a different view, and these two are two of the highest. And very interesting, mixed nuts translations. At this moment, Geshe Michael has just completed doing the final touch on the book called Siddhanta. And this Siddhanta is talking about belief systems. There are 101 belief systems, and basically these two are the highest belief systems. I saw Lien from Vietnam is here. Lien has been sitting in our SCM classes because he's the Vietnamese translator. So I think this will sound quite familiar to her, right? Okay. So we have already mentioned, right, how things don't exist. So in this school, Gacha is the emptiness of Gacha. So here Gacha is something that could exist through its own unique way, without simply being established by an impaired state of my mind. So things that could exist without itself showing. So first it has to show to us, appear to us, and then secondly, we need to see it with unimpaired mind. So when we say that things can appear without one of these two, then it is impossible. It is Gacha, right? Okay, let's continue. Of course, to help us understand this better, here is another example of we call it the second Gacha, right? Flowers that show us flowerness. Yeah. Basically, so this is another example. The flowers have to look like flowers, and I have to see them as flowers. So these are the two components, 50-50, right? So here, when we talk about this, right? When we see a pen, when there is a pen in the room appearing as a pen, right? So the Gacha means what? The pen is there without us having to be there. Yeah, so if there is a pen in the room appearing as a pen without us looking at it as a pen, then that is the Gacha from the lower middle way. Right? So again, this is another example that Geshe Michael always like to use, right? So there is a husband who is supposed to be texting when the wife walks into the room. And then when the wife walked into the room, she saw the husband quickly hide the phone, and then giving her a silly smile, And of course, the wife got suspicious. What is my husband doing? Is he texting some ladies, So this wife was not happy. Oh, okay, my husband is doing something funny. So she was very angry. Okay, there was this thought. And then when the husband go to the washroom, and then she tried to pick her husband's phone. What is the husband doing, Oh, see, what she see is the husband is actually trying to buy something from Amazon because her birthday is coming, and then the husband is trying to buy something for her gift. At that moment, the image of the husband's girlfriend is gone. So first, this imagination's girlfriend is impossible, and then when this impossible image is gone, that is emptiness, right? So this is how we can explain emptiness also. So that is a gotcha. Okay, the impossible, the imagination girlfriend is impossible. That is a gotcha. And then nirvana happens at the moment when the wife see the word Amazon, so the husband is trying to order something from Amazon. So emptiness is the absence of that gotcha, absence of that husband's girlfriend who is never there, right? Proof, there's proof, Proof means the whole thing is disappear. So here we use the metaphor of a candle. When the flame of the candle goes off, poof, that is nirvana. That is nirvana. So another thing that we use to explain this is a metaphor of the magic show. Okay, remember this is a lower middle way. So in the olden days in India, there are those magicians who perform tricks for people to give them money, right? So one day, this magician was performing trick. He used his stick, and then he put some powder and give some spells, abracadabra or whatever, and turned the stick into a horse, or in Indian context, it's a cow, a horse. So the stick turned into horse. So the people who are watching, under the influence of the spell, they will see a horse. And they believe it. Okay? The magician who performed the spell is also seeing a horse. But of course, because he's the one doing the magic, he doesn't believe the horse. And then passerby, some people who just walk past, who was not there when the magician was performing the spell, they see the stick. They see the sticks. They don't see any horse. Right? So what does it mean? This is basically another metaphor to help us understand about emptiness, right? So the audience is the metaphor of people who are on the path of accumulation and preparation, path 1 and 2, right? And then the magician is like somebody who has just had the direct perception of emptiness in path number 3, which is path of seeing, and then just come out from the DPE, going into path number 4, which is path of habituation. So that is a magician. And finally, the passerby is a metaphor for two things. The first one is path of seeing during the direct perception of emptiness. And then the second is basically the 5th path, Arhat or Buddha, path of no more learning. So this is just a story to help us understand the metaphor better. Okay. So you can see that the 50-50, right? The lower middle way. Okay, here I give a detailed definition of the emptiness according to different schools. So if you want to learn more in more detail, you can listen to the recording, right? We spent quite a fair bit of time discussing about this 2 weeks ago, all right? Okay, class 8 and 9, we talk about proof of emptiness. These 2 classes are quite heavy, yeah. And it might not be easy learning, but let's go through quickly the review. If you want to learn the details, you can listen back to the recording, okay? So 8 and 9, class 8 and 9, we talk about logic. We say clear focus. Sorry, clear thinking. Logic is clear thinking. Clear focus is meditation, right? So here we talk about Gakcha again. And then why study logic, and then the three knowledges, and then proof of the selflessness, and there are 5 proof presented here, and then maybe we will just focus on 1 or 2, right? So logic, here this is very beautiful, right? In the heart of each of us lies the desire to create a perfect world. The mandala that we presented at the beginning, basically this is our intention to create a perfect world. And the intention to learn the Dharma has to be imbued with the desire to create a perfect world for all beings, for all beings. And logic, with the eyes of logic, we can see every war ever fought, every enemy who ever hurt us actually comes from impossible thing. They don't come from their own side. Yeah, I think Geshe Michael also described it very, very beautifully. Very beautifully. People quarreling, people fighting with each other, including war's enemy. At the end of the day, when we realize where they are from, and definitely they are coming from our seeds, but people who are involved, they think that those enemies are coming from their own sides. And this is something very, we would say very silly, right? But we can say silly because we understand all this. If we don't understand, we will still be angry with them. So those never existed before. They will never exist, and they don't exist even now. So that's why we say perfect world is built upon kindness and kindness only. Molecules of kindness and kindness alone. I think there is a story in the Karma of Love that Geshe Michael mentioned. I forgot which question. Somebody asked him about seeds. Somebody asked him about how do we create things from seeds. For example, now I'm sitting in the US in the village of Oak Creek, just outside Sedona, south of Sedona, in this big house. In this big land. Basically, the metaphor is that you can see that we don't have what do you call it? We don't have a curtain. We don't have a curtain, right? We don't have a curtain. If you see, this is oh no, that is a window, right? You can see outside the snow there, a little bit of snow. Basically, we don't put curtain. We don't close the curtain. Why? Because the land is so huge that even without curtain, people will not see inside. Yeah. And then, so basically, what seeds do I have to see all these beautiful things, to have all this convenience, to have all this comfort? It's basically built from kindness. Of course, when my wife and I, we try to recall why do we have all these good seeds? It's basically we have been planting all the good seeds by giving people convenience. Yeah, so this is just a simple example. Simple example. Kindness, right? Okay, now, so this is talking about Gakcha. Let's skip this quickly, and then let's go to the proof of emptiness. Okay, so this is basically a review of some of the concepts. Okay, now the reading, ACI 2 reading. Oh yeah, by the way, if you are in the Telegram chat group, 2 weeks ago, I think DC Press, Dhammakata Press released a beautiful ebook for DCI 2. Okay, I suggest you go and order. Okay, it's free of charge, but you still have to go online and order the book so that you can receive the book. Okay, it's very beautiful. So here, in order to talk about the proof of emptiness, ACI 2, we use these three knowledges, the classical subjects, the three subject of which are three knowledges, right? This is in the book Abhisama Alankara, which is a teaching by Lord Maitreya and written by Master Asanga, right? So there are three knowledges: the C-share foundation knowledge, C-share foundation knowledge, which is the DPE of a lower track person. DPE, right? DPE, the direct perception of emptiness of a lower track person. No bodhicitta. It doesn't include bodhicitta. Lamshe, knowledge of the path, is a DPE, or some people call it DPOE, by a bodhisattva. So there is bodhicitta inside. Okay, interesting, right? The wish is inside the mind like honey inside the donut. Honey inside the donut. It makes the donut taste better. Oh, this makes me hungry. And of course, the third knowledge is the knowledge of all things. So this is basically the omniscience, right? Only Buddha has that omniscience. Knowledge of all things means knowledge of the past, present, future, and then also knowledge to be anywhere. Okay. There are 5 classical proofs of emptiness in the reading in class 8 and 9. You can actually read them if you want to, right? So the first one is proof of not one nor many, Chik Tudrel. If you have gone through the advanced level 1 DCI, you will be very familiar with this proof. We talk about that, right? Second proof is diamond sliver. Nothing can come from causes. Dorje Sekma, right? Sliver means small pieces, right? And then third proof is, we call it Yume Kegok, right? Proof that results never start. Results, right? Fourth, the number 4 is nothing starts from any of the 4 possibilities. Gokke Simu. And then finally, the 5th one is king of logic, reasoning of cause and effect or interdependence. Tendra Ki Rikpa. Rikpa is the logic. Tendral is the interdependence. So the logic of the interdependence. Right? Now, if I can divide this into something easier to understand, you can see 2, 3, and 4 are basically one group, very similar. In fact, very similar, right? Proof number 1, we talk about the parts, one and many parts. 2, 3, and 4, we talk about. So when we talk about one and many, we talk about the 4 possibilities. No, sorry, one and many. 2, 3, and 4, we talk about the 4 possibilities being applied to causes in second proof. The 4 possibilities being applied to result is the third proof. And the 4 possibilities on the starting as the proof number 4. Okay. I would say these are the proof, the method used by Arya Nagarjuna. So if you have attended Arya Nagarjuna classes started in 2018, I think you must have heard this. I know Crystal was in Diamond Mountain 2018. So we talk about this. I hope you remember. That was a long time ago. And then 2019, also in Diamond Mountain. And then 2020, 2021, we had the teaching online, right? So we talk a lot about these four possibilities, and then the cause, the result, the starting, the ending. So this is the method that Arya Nagarjuna used to do all this proof of emptiness. It's very difficult, but it is not impossible. Okay, now let's try to dive in. So in order to learn logic or clear thinking, we have what we call syllogism, right? So the Tibetan style is using syllogism. This is just one logical method from the Western world. And syllogism is just one logical method. There are many logical methods if you learn the Western logics. Right? If you really go deeper into the historical relationship between Tibetan philosophy and the West, you will find a lot of similarities. There is one book that Geshe Michael wrote that I particularly like. I forgot the title, but it is talking about how the West is influencing the Tibetan thoughts. One of the proof is one of the things that we can show you is if you think of the Geshe hat, the Geshe hat is like a sharp and then go towards the front, right? If you think of that, if you have seen that kind of picture before, you will also see this when I used to love reading these comics as what is called Asterix, about the Romans, about this small warrior from this small country fighting the Roman soldier. If you look at the Roman soldier's hat, it's very much like the Geshe hat. They are not coincidence; they are related. So I think if you have time, we can discuss about this story. It's very, very interesting. Okay, so now let's. So that's another reason why there is all this proof, all this method, especially the syllogism, right? In advanced level 2, well, in advanced level 1 and 2, we discuss about this, but in advanced level 2, we go much deeper. So Geshe Michael call it 3.5 elements because there are 3. Here we can see there are 4 elements. But because the 4th one is example, we call it half. So what are the 3? We need to have a subject, the subject. And then we need to have assertion. Assertion is something that we want, something that the other person doesn't know yet. Yeah. And then, of course, the 3rd one is the proof. It has to be something already acceptable by the other person. So here is an example by, I'm taking this material, this PowerPoint was given to me by Cornelia. So this was the material taught by J.B. Lau when he was in Singapore, right? That's why the example is Singapore. Consider all the restaurants in Singapore. This is the subject. And then something that the other person doesn't know yet or have not decided is we should go to an Italian restaurant. And the proof is because you like it. Because you like it, right? Because you like it. And how do I, so this you like it means the other person must have accepted this fact. Yeah, you must have liked it. That's why I can present that proof. Example is that, yeah, I must have seen you enjoying Italian food in Sedona, you know. So this is just a simple example of how we divide the statement into the three parts of syllogism. And then in advanced level 2, Geshe Michael used another term, 3 checkpoints. So the first checkpoint is the proof has to be related to the subject, okay? We call it the reason. The proof or the reason has to be accepted, have to be linked to the subject. Of course, in the normal syllogism, the proof or the reason can be anything. Can be anything, you know. Sometimes we give some ridiculous example. Consider all the restaurants in Singapore. We should go to an Italian one because the sky is blue, for example. This can be an example. This can be a reason. Yeah. Consider all the restaurants in Singapore. We should go to an Italian one because it is snowing in Sedona, for example. Yeah, we can use all these ridiculous answer to illustrate that the reason can be anything. But the first checkpoint is that the proof or the reason has to be related to the subject. So if I say that because you will love Italian food, that is related. But if I say because Sedona is snowing, because the blue is sky, that is not related. Yeah. So this is the first checkpoint. The proof has to be related to the subject. Second checkpoint is that if 3 is correct, the second statement has to be correct. Yeah. Because you like Italian food, therefore we should go to an Italian restaurant. Yeah. So this is still valid, right? This is still valid. Is that right? Because you like Italian food, we should go to Italian restaurant. I think that's still valid, okay? The third checkpoint. If second is incorrect, the third statement should be incorrect. We should not go to an Italian restaurant if you don't like it, okay? Do you see any problem here? Does anyone see any problem here? Okay, nobody see any problem. Okay, logically it sounds correct, right? There is a problem. I think the third checkpoint is wrong. Okay, the third checkpoint is wrong. If we shouldn't go to an Italian restaurant because you don't like it. If I were to negate it, right? We shouldn't go to Italian restaurant because you don't like it. Is this something valid? It might not be something valid. To me, this is not valid, right? So with this example, we can say that the whole syllogism here is incorrect. Why? Because it doesn't have to be Italian, right? Although you love Italian restaurant, maybe we can go to Japanese restaurant. Yeah. So before we did our analysis, we thought that this is pretty logical. But if we really analyze it, I realized that this is something not valid, right? Consider all restaurants in Singapore. We should go to an Italian one because you love it, because you will love it. How about Japanese? Maybe you also like Japanese restaurant, you know? How about Chinese food? How about Mexican food? How about many other kind of examples, right? So Syllogism will help us to be able to think clearly, more clearly. Okay, now proof of one or many, three knowledges. Okay. Here we want to talk about, we want to prove that the three knowledges do not exist really. Do not exist really. Okay, basic knowledge is the perception of selflessness, which is the direct perception of emptiness in the path of seeing. Path of knowledge is the similar thing, but by a bodhicitta with bodhicitta, by a bodhisattva. And then the third one is the omniscience, which is a state of mind of an enlightened being. Okay, let me correct this three. Okay, so basically we understand that knowledge that comes to our mind without sharing what we know, it doesn't exist, right? Okay, now let's take a look at the examples here. Of course, we know that in order to have all those knowledges, we need to plant the seeds. We need to help each other understand emptiness. Sometimes maybe debate, study, and serving, so that we create the causes for the knowledge, right? Otherwise, those are deceptive. Those are deceptive. Yeah, where is... Okay, let's go to the next class. We will have the, here, okay? So in class 9, so class 8, basically all the theory. Now class 9, let's take a look at this syllogism. Hey, I think let's have a break, okay? Let's have a break. Let's give our translators some time to breathe, okay, and to rest, okay? And, okay, go have some drink, go to the washroom, and see you all in 5 minutes, okay? See you all in 5 minutes. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Can see that Nguyen Sung is resting. Thank you for translating. Okay, I just want to show you before we go into the proof, right? I would just want to show you some of the things that I did. Actually, I tried to pull out those 5 proofs, right? Pull out 5 proofs. So from the reading, so this is the Chick to drill. This is this is the source of the Chick to drill, the sutra. And then this is the Dorje Sekma, sleeve of diamond. And then this is the, this is the third, Dorje Sekma is the causes. And then this is the third one, which is result. And then this is the fourth one, which is the 4 possibilities. And this is the 5th one, which is the Tendril Kirikpa, right? And Tendril Kirikpa, there are quite a few components. So all these are pretty exciting. And if you want to dive deep into those ideas, first you can read the reading. Second, you can listen back to the recording, okay? And of course, we also went into extremes to avoid before we at the class 8 previously. Okay, now class 9. Let's share the screen. Okay. Consider the 3 knowledges. They do not exist really. They do not exist really. Because they do not exist really as one or really as many. Okay? So, what are the 3 checkpoints? What are the 3 checkpoints? We can see 3 connects to 1 accurately. Yeah? I mean, there are relationships. We are talking about the same thing. The subject is talking about the 3 knowledge, and the reason, the proof is talking about the 3 knowledges. So they are related. Now, the second checkpoint, if 3, then 2. Because they do not exist really as one or really as many, then they do not exist really. This is still correct, right? We can relate to this one. How about the third checkpoint? If they do exist really, we take away the not, right? If they do exist really, they do exist really because they, okay, let's change the sentence. If they do exist really, then they have to exist really as one or really as many. Yeah. So I think this is also valid, If they really exist, then they have to really exist as one or really exist as many. Yeah. I think we have some more explanation. Yeah, here. Let's use the pen as an example. Let's use the pen as an example, right? If they have parts, they do not really exist as one. So we say that because there are 3 knowledges, they have parts, right? 3 knowledges have parts. So if they have parts, they do not really exist as one. If 3, then 2. So we use the pen. You can read here. When you look at a pen, you cannot see the pen. You see only parts of the pen, the top, the bottom, etc. So it is impossible for us to see the pen without looking at the parts. But while looking at the parts, we cannot see the whole pen. We only see the parts, the colors, the clues, the shapes. Yeah. And our mind actually is the one painting a complete pen picture for the things which is out there that we are seeing. And because of that, because of our mind, we believe there's a pen out there. It is our mental construct. It is from our mind that is constructing the whole pen. So if you are seeing the parts, you cannot see the whole pen. We don't see the whole pen because we are looking at the parts. But if you see the pen as a whole, then of course you don't see the parts. That means if things have parts, you cannot see the whole because there are parts. Or if you want to see things as a whole, you will not see the parts. Yeah, like we mentioned yesterday, the main mind, we cannot see two things at the same time. But we have to alternate. We have to alternate, right? So here we can say that because they have parts, they cannot exist as many. Oh, sorry, they cannot exist as one, right? Yeah. So here, when we can see things have parts, we know that they have potential, they have emptiness. They have emptiness, right? So here our approach is to prove that everything has parts as applied to the three knowledges. Here we can say that we are going to go into the classification of things. This one we discuss also pretty detailed in the DCI level 7. Yeah. So all things in the universe that we can perceive can be divided into changing and unchanging. Changing things we can classify as either physical or mental, or there is a third type, neither physical nor mental, right? Of course, physical we can divide into gross and subtle, right? This is the picture that we use in DCI level 7. Yeah. If you want to know in detail, you can listen to the recording. We discuss quite a fair bit here. Yeah, things that you can see, all the stuff you can see somehow, yeah, exist and change, exist and don't change, right? And then we can divide into physical, mental, and then neither physical nor mental. And of course, we have all these examples. If Lian, you are here, you might remember Geshe Michael talking about the 3 tests of gold. Yeah, the 3 tests of gold. I think Chloe, you heard this also in the cafe that day. Geshe Michael was talking, right? Yeah, the 3 tests of gold. And somebody got $100. Oh, Chloe got $100. Where's Chloe? Chloe got $100 because of these questions. Yeah, $100, Chloe. Cool, right? Yeah. And Chloe's answer was the here, no, perception from good logic, from convention, from trust. Oh, okay. Where's your, basically Chloe was talking about the direct, accurate perception. Yeah. Okay, if your internet is no good, you can turn off your camera, okay? I don't want you to treat us. I don't want you to get kicked out from the Zoom again. Okay. And then, yeah, proving things have parts, right? So this is interesting, right? Gross physical thing, how to prove that things have parts. Here we are using fingers. We're using fingers. If we say that our fingers don't have parts, right? When we cover part of the hand, when we cover 2 fingers, we still see 3 fingers. Therefore, we say that fingers have parts. Because when we say that fingers don't have parts, means when I cover partially, the whole thing should be covered. Yeah, so this is how to prove the gross physical thing. And a subtle physical thing is that we like to use atom because atom is very small and atom is defined as not divisible. We cannot divide an atom. Atom is defined as something which is very small, right? Very small. And so when we say atom is very small and we cannot divide, that means we say that because atom cannot be divided, that means atom has no parts. The problem is that when we have two atoms and we touch them next to each other, right? So are we saying, so when we touch them, we see that the right part of the left atom is touching the left side of the right atom. But when we start to divide the atom into left side, right side, that means they have parts. If we say that atom is cannot be divided and they don't have parts, means when I touch the atom together, when we touch the atoms together, they have to touch all the parts together. But the fact is that only the right side of the left atom is touching the left side of the right atom. How about the left side of the left atom and the right side of the right atom? They are not touching each other. So because of that, we prove that subtle physical things also have parts. Yeah. How about mental things? Mental things is easy. We talk about mental having moments, right? When we said that it has moments, that means the mental have parts. Those are the moment. Yeah. So this is the proof for the remote causes. How about the direct causes? Right, direct causes. So here, JB is using Cornelius as an object, right? So Connie's visual awareness of John. So her mind, so when you see something directly, your mind will see there are moments of your mind seeing the object, right? The object. So this is talking about our mind seeing something changing, yeah, changing. Whereas remote means we think of the event, yeah, moment after moment. So because our mind is thinking moment after moment, that means our mind have parts. Yeah. So all this means what? All this means because all these have parts, all of them have emptiness, all of them have potentials. So here, what we want to say is that if things have parts, they have potential, they have emptiness. And remember, we are still in the Svatantrika, the independent school of the middle way, the lower middle way, right? And the lower middle way, besides saying that things are 50-50, we are also saying that they have parts. Now, this is a topic that I like very much. We always like to say, maybe we can deviate a bit, right? A lot of times people talk about the interdependence. Okay, this is my topic, the wheel of life, interdependence. How do we define interdependence? Basically, there are three definitions. The first one, we say cause and effect. Things occur when the result will only occur when there's a cause and effect, cause and result. So when we phrase it into emptiness, we can say that result is impossible without cause, right? Cause producing result. So we can say that result is impossible without the cause. This is the first idea. But this idea cannot explain unchanging things. Unchanging things. The cause and effect can explain almost 99% of everything in the universe, but they cannot explain unchanging things. What are they? We talk about empty space, for example. Empty space is not produced. It is not changing. Let's say the space that you are in now. I believe most of you are at home. I'm at home. This is a space. Yes, I'm inside a house. This house will be gone maybe 100 years from now. Oh, we don't know. Yeah, maybe 1,000 years from now, this house will be gone, will be destroyed. The earth may be still around, 1 million years later, maybe the Earth is gone. But the space is still here. The space is still here. So the space we consider as unchanging. Now, cause and effect cannot explain this unchanging. What is the cause of the space? We don't know, right? We can say that, yeah, probably kindness, but anyway, let's not go there first. So, in order to explain the existence of unchanging things, we need to go to the second level, which is parts. Space exists because they have parts. What parts? Center, left, right, front, back, top, bottom. Space has parts. That's why it exists. So, and this is actually from the independent school, right? Cause and effect, we call it the functional schools, function. Yeah. So now in the independent school, we say things exist because they have space. If we change this into emptiness, we can say that things are impossible. Things are impossible if they don't have parts. Things are impossible if they don't have parts. Okay? And then, of course, there is a third level, the interdependence, the third level. It's from the implication school, the higher middle way, SIDS. Things are impossible if they don't have parts. We can think of wow, can the black hole suck the space? Okay, let's talk about that later, okay? Now, we say that things are impossible if they don't have parts. So we can say that, okay, let's talk about car. Car has parts. Therefore, they exist, right? Therefore, they exist. But a few hundred years ago, the components were already there. The metal, the rubber, yeah, those already existed long before the car started to come into existence. But why didn't we have car before? Yeah, this actually came from the teaching by Arya Nagasena to the king Milinda Sena, right? In the Milinda Panha. So this was actually a teaching by Nagasena to Milinda Panha, the king. And he was using the cart, pulled by horse or pulled by cow, the cart. The cart has parts. But you can assemble the parts, you can gather the parts, but you may not get the cart automatically. So what else is missing? So the higher middle way will say that in order to have the cart, you not only have to have the parts, but you need to have the seeds to create the cart. So according to the higher middle way, we say that things are impossible if there are no seeds. There are no seeds. In DCI level 7, we call it things are impossible if there is no one deserving it. If there is no one deserving it, means if there is no one with the seeds to see it exist. Okay? So living in this big house is impossible if I don't have the seeds. Okay, this is what I can say. Otherwise, I can say, oh yeah, because I have good connection, because I have good friends, because I have friends who have money to buy. But the real reason why I can live in this house, convenient house, comfortable house, must be because I have the seeds. By giving people convenience, by giving people comfort, right? So this is the third definition, okay? And of course, unchanging things, we also have emptiness itself beside the space, and also the cessations, the stopping of things, right? Okay, now let's go to IT's question. Can black holes suck the space? This is a very good question. We can say that the space as we define can be sucked by the black hole, right? We said that inside the black hole, there is no, it's dark and it's cold and it is sucking everything in there. But we can say that the space being unchanging, there is still space, there is still empty space that we define in our context. Although the space that we define from science perspective might not be there anymore. Yeah, so this is what I can say. Yeah. Of course, we said that the universe itself, the space itself will be, the term, what's the term? Warp, W-A-R-P will be affected, you know. Yeah, so, but that is space according to the science definition. But when we talk about empty space as unchanging things, because they're unchanging, they cannot change, they cannot be changed, all right? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so, all right, now let's talk about the last class, which is the Lord Maitreya. Before that, we revised slightly the 7 topics we learned in ACI 2. 3 kinds of refuge. We talk about the refuge to the Buddha jewel, Dhamma jewel, and Sangha jewel. This is where Chloe was born. Chloe Ma, 3 jewels. Where's Chloe? Oh, Chloe's gone again. Oh, Chloe's here. Okay, 3 jewels in New York. And then 5 kinds of extraordinary refuge: the small scope, the medium scope, the great scope, and then the cause refuge and the result refuge, right? Bodhicitta, the wish for enlightenment, the long definition and the short definition. The short one from Lord Maitreya, the wish to reach enlightenment for the sake of all living beings. And then we talk about nirvana, nirvana with small n, nirvana with big N, the ultimate nirvana, which is a synonym of emptiness. No, sorry, and total enlightenment. And then nirvana with nothing, something left over, nirvana with nothing left over, nirvana with sita shita, nirvana not in the extreme of afflicted and extreme of the peace, right? There is a nirvana. And then we talk about gaccha, the impossible things. And then we talk about emptiness and the proofs. So basically emptiness is the absence of gaccha. And then we have 5 proof of emptiness here. But we only focus on one, the emptiness, the proof of not one nor many. Sometimes we say the proof of one or many. And finally, let's talk about who is Maitreya. Who is Maitreya, right? So here we talk about few things, perfection of wisdom itself. And then we talk about whose needs, the 2 needs. Remember the Buddha jewel, we talk about satisfying 2 needs. Needs for himself or herself, and then needs for others, needs of others. And then what is the debate all about? And debate is talking about whether Maitreya is Buddha or Bodhisattva. And then finally, does secret teachings really exist? Okay, again, this is the history of the sutra, the Prajnaparamita, taught by Lord Buddha. and then explained by Maitreya to Asanga, and then commentary by Master Hari Badra, Sengge Sangpo, and finally commentary by Kedrap Tempadarke. Okay, these are the sources that we use. Whose needs here? Buddha jewel has two needs. First is for self, and then second for others. Yeah, here we use some modern language. For self means in writing and sharing, and keep the motivation. Work hard for others means attracting people to study and participate and apply. Yeah. So this argument is between Gyaltsabje and those masters from Sakya, right? From Sakya. There are four, we can say there are three big schools. We don't talk about the traditional Buddhist school, but we talk about the Tibet big schools, right? We have we have Nyingma, Sakya, Gelug, and those are the schools. So Gyaltsabje is the main students of Je Tsongkhapa. Je Tsongkhapa is our great teacher, who was born 700 years ago. And he's a very extraordinary being, right? I think his story is also very, very interesting. So we can spend some other time to discuss about him. So he is respected by all the schools. Oh yeah, there's one more. Yeah, Kagyu. These are there are more, but these are the four main ones. Normally we say the big three, but you can also say the one more, the big four. So Je Tsongkhapa established the Gelug school. Therefore, when he was young, Gelug was not there. So he learned with all the masters from all these schools. In fact, he has one very amazing teacher called Lord Rendawa, which is from Sakya, right? And very interestingly, if all of you know about the mantra, the prayer, the prayer of Je Tsongkhapa, or also known as Mikchema, right? That was actually a poem written by Je Tsongkhapa to honor his teacher, Lord Rendawa. But his teacher presented back the poem to Je Tsongkhapa as a form of respect. So he is very well respected even by his teachers. So at first he learned from all his teachers. Later on, his teachers were the one learning from him. So they have a very sweet and beautiful relationship. So this is Je Tsongkhapa sitting at the center. And you can see there are two persons below him. These two are his two main students. Yeah. The left one is the Gyaltsabje, Dharma Rinchen. Yeah, Gyaltsabje, Dharma Rinchen. And then the right one is Kedrumje. I forgot his name, his ordination name, right? Kedrumje. And of course, sometimes they say the big three. There is a third student, which is the first Dalai Lama, Dharma Gendundrup, right? And of course, there are many, many other outstanding students. So Gyaltsabje means the throne holder, meaning that after Je Tsongkhapa passed on, Gyaltsabje was the next leader of the group, right? So Gyaltsabje is expert in logic, whereas Kedrumje is the expert in the secret teaching. Right? Now, Gyaltsabje is a logician, a great logician. and he likes to walk around to debate people. His main motivation is to make sure that people have the correct understanding. So one day he met two masters from Sakya talking about Maitreya, right? So basically, yeah, okay. So basically, the Sakya people say that Maitreya explained the Prajna Paramita, yeah, in the form of to master Asanga, is because he wants to fulfill the needs of others. He wants to explain so that people can understand the teaching, his own needs. He aspires to fulfill his own needs, right? Oh, sorry. He says that he wants to fulfill his own needs, right? Sakya says Maitreya doesn't. Oh, Sakya says Maitreya doesn't want to fulfill his own needs. He only fulfills others' needs. He doesn't have the aspire to fulfill his own needs. And this is what the Sakya say. But Gyaltsab says no. He still aspire to fulfill his own needs and others' needs. Right? So this is where the debate comes about. Now, why this became a debate? That's why we need to really understand. What does it mean that the Lord Maitreya only wants to fulfill others' needs, but not his own needs? Yeah. So normally we say, yeah, Maitreya teach because he wants to fulfill others' needs. Yeah. Or we can say that, hey, Sugeng teach because he wants to share the knowledge so everybody can understand the content of the ACI. Yeah. And the Sakya say Maitreya doesn't have his own needs anymore. Your subject say, no, he still have both needs. Because then this is why there is this debate, is because of the wrong understanding. In the sutra, Maitreya, Manjusri, all of them are students of Buddha, and they are not Buddha yet. They are just Bodhisattva. But of course, in secret teachings, they are Buddha, right? And we talk about the Buddha jewel, fulfilling both needs, own needs and others' needs, right? So before you become a Buddha, you have both needs. So when the Sakyas say that Maitreya doesn't aspire to fulfill his own needs, they are assuming that Maitreya is already a Buddha and not Bodhisattva. But Gyaltsab just say, because this is a sutra, which is open teaching, Maitreya is a Bodhisattva, and because of that, he still aspire to fulfill his own needs and others' needs. You see the debate point here? Yeah. Okay. So we should not mix them up. So basically, this is the idea of the debate. This is the topic of the debate. All right. So this is basically the discussion. We discuss pretty in detail during the class. So actually, when you want to understand own needs and others, then you can look at it from the Buddha's body. We can divide the Buddha's body into two, right? Dhamma body and the form body. Yeah, Chuku and Suku. Chuku and Suku, right? So Chuku Dhamma body is own needs. Own needs. A bodhisattva aspires to fulfill his own needs to have a Dhamma body. And a bodhisattva aspire to fulfill others' needs so that they can have the form body, yeah, form body or the emanation body. right? Suku, right? So you need to remember, as a bodhisattva, you still have these two needs. Whereas when you say that you only work for others' needs, you only talk about the form body. So this is not a bodhisattva. That is assuming that you are already a Buddha, or he is already a Buddha, right? So this is the debate point. Okay, so that's all. That's all. So what we are saying here is that we need to differentiate between open teaching and a secret teaching. Open teaching and secret teaching. Open teaching refers to the teaching that everybody can learn, and we mentioned that in the open teaching, Prince Siddhartha came as a human and then learn and practice to become a Buddha, Lord Buddha Gautama. And in the open teaching, we say that all the rest are bodhisattvas waiting to become Buddha, right? But in secret teaching, we said that everybody is a Buddha and just pretend to become a normal human to show us the way to practice. So we need to really differentiate this. Yeah? We should not confuse them. Otherwise, the people will be confused and you will be confused too. Of course, Maitreya himself, in the Ornaments of Realization that he taught to Master Sangha, he mentioned that he is a Bodhisattva level 10. So he himself already mentioned that he's a Bodhisattva in the open teaching. So we need to understand that properly, right? Does secret teachings really exist? Okay, does secret teaching really exist? So this is quoted from the Suliang Lut. I forgot what's the English sutra. So from the commentary, we say that there do exist the ones who know the secret teaching and can in cases use the secret word with success. So these are the proof, yeah, that secret teaching exists. And mainly, secret teaching relies on the power of the one who taught it, meaning that secret teaching relies on the power of your teacher and on you following the precepts. Yeah, so a lot of people wants to go into secret teaching, but the main requirement is that you need a proper teacher to guide you, and you need to follow all the precepts and the vows. Yeah, so this is basically the last part of the ACI 2, right? So here the conclusion is that we need to, of course, we need to have the proper renunciation leading to the refuge, and then we need to have the bodhicitta. We need to have the correct worldview, right? On top of that, we also need to fulfill all our precepts, all our vows. And finally, all this will lead us into the secret teaching. Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you, Chloe. Suliang Lut is a compendium of valid cognition, right? Okay, IT has a question. When Buddha attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya, is he considered attaining Buddhahood with something left over? Ah, yes, very good question. Is he still in human form when he becomes a Buddha because he continues to spread his teaching? Okay, let me answer the first one first. Yeah. We don't say Buddhahood with something left over. We only say Nirvana with something left over, right? This is applicable to our heart. So if you remember, if you read the Buddha story, when he became a Buddha and then he started teaching, he started teaching 500 monks, 1,000 monks, you know. And then you see that those people got into nirvana. Nirvana means they get rid of their mental afflictions. And basically that means that those people, when they get rid of their mental afflictions, they get into the state of nirvana. Yeah. Or they become arhat. And that is a state of nirvana with something left over because they still have the body. Yeah. The hips produced by the impure karma, impure seeds. Yeah. So that is what we call nirvana with something left over, small n. And then when they finally move on, then the body, they get rid of the body, impure body, then they go into nirvana with nothing left over. For Buddha, we don't say something left over or not left over, because when you become enlightened, your body is transformed, your body is changed. So it is not something which is impure anymore. It becomes something which is pure, right? Is he still in human form when he becomes a Buddha? Because he continues. So basically, when we talk about Buddha's body, right? We mentioned we have a Dhamma body, we have a form body. So the form that we can see is called form body. Yeah. So that is basically to fulfill the needs of others. Only in form body, then he can do the teaching. He can spread the teaching. And that body sometimes is known as emanation body. Yeah. Or in Tibetan, it's called tulku. Those of you who are familiar, tulku basically just means emanation body. Yeah, we hear a lot of something tulku rinpoche, for example. Yeah, that is basically emanation body. Okay. All right. That's all for ACI 2. Let's do the closing before I answer more questions. Otherwise, I always forget the closing. All right. Okay, I'm going to lead the closing. All right. Oh, Crystal, you want to lead? Yeah.
Shashi Pugi Jushin Meto Tram Rira Lingshi Inde Gempadi Sange Shindu Mite Uwagi Drokun Namda Shingla Chupasho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niyatayami Gewa Di Gewo Kun Sunam Yeshe Zong Xing Sunam Yeshe Lejung Wei Dampa Kuni Topa Sho.
Thank you. Okay, next question from AT. Can we tell from the appearance that someone has attained nirvana while still being alive? Halo around the head, etc. Yeah, you can. Depend on persons, right? Depend on people. But it depends on our seeds, whether we can recognize them or not. Okay, so I cannot tell. I cannot tell. But some people can tell, you know. So one thing that we learn here is that we should assume that everybody is either a bodhisattva or a Buddha, right? Yeah, we should assume that so that we don't get into the trouble of not respecting a bodhisattva. Okay, so we should assume that everybody is a Buddha or bodhisattva. In fact, like today here online, a lot of you are here, and I should assume that all of you are pretending to learn from me. You know, you are all Buddhas. You are just pretending and giving me opportunity to plant very good seeds, to share all these teachings, you know. We have Buddha Nguyen Chung, Buddha Rini, Buddha Min Nguyen, Buddha Iris, Buddha Crystal, Buddha Angela, Buddha Chloe, Buddha Chantel, Buddha Tommy, Buddha Auntie, Buddha Edwina, Buddha Lien, Buddha Pupong, you know. So you see, we just need to have this thought in our mind. Everybody around us is basically enlightened beings, giving us the chance to learn and to practice. Okay? And if you can have this kind of mindset, your life will be beautiful. Wow, I look out, it's really like a snowland now. The snow is so thick. Oh, goodness. All right, it's going to be very cold. Okay, so yeah. Oh, yeah, group photo. I always forget. Thank you, Crystal. Did I send a group photo yesterday? I forgot also. Okay, come, let's have a group photo. Let's have a group photo, okay? Let me get off the chat. Let me get ready. Okay. Yay. Oh, no. No more four. Love. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Lian, where's your face, Lian? Edwina. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Lian. Lian is here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I had the photo already. So, yeah. Thank you very much for pretending to be attending the class, giving me the chance to plant all the good seeds, all right? So this is the end of ACI 2, and tomorrow we are going to start with ACI 3, okay, for the next 5 days. For the next 5 days, we are going to do ACI 3. And you want to see the Sedona snow? Okay, let me show you.
Yes, because I thought if a desert areas they can see snow, not bad.
Oh, yes, of course. I need to turn off my light first, okay, because it's still quite dark outside. So let me turn off my light and I show you, okay?
Thanks, Teacher Sugan.
Okay, turn off the light. Wow, it's so wide. Okay, can you see outside?
Wow, so nice.
Yeah, it's like
so nice. Wow,
okay. You see, it's so thick,
yeah.
you know. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so nice.
So
like Hokkaido.
Hold on now, maybe I go out now. Let me wear my this.
Better keep yourself warm.
Yeah, okay. Let me go out and show you, okay? Oh, it's so beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, I love
Ooh,
snow.
wow, so wide.
Yeah.
You see?
Wow, so nice.
It's so wide. It's so wide.
Wow.
Wow.
I really miss snow.
It's still snowing.
Wow.
My goodness.
So nice.
And today you don't need to go out already.
Yeah, today you have to stay home.
Today no need to go out already. Yeah. So Chloe, how do you eat? You have food there in Rimrock?
Yeah.
You have. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, luckily we still have some food left.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to start.
Thanks a lot.
This one is a apartment or is a hotel that you rent, or is a where's this place?
This place is in Sedona, village of Oak Creek. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all for today. See you all tomorrow if you want to continue. Okay, we are going to do ACI 3, applied meditation. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Teacher Sugar, for all these teachings. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Okay,
pretending to be learning from me.
You're too humble.
No, that's the way we should think, right? Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bye.
Okay,
Have a
thank you.
good
See you
evening
tomorrow.
in Asia.
Yeah, so good
Bye-bye.
morning.
See you
Good morning, right?
tomorrow.
Your side, right?
Say again?
Good morning, right? Your side.
It's
Your
morning.
side is morning, right?
It's
Morning,
six before 7. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Good morning to you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.